If you're installing a greenhouse or high tunnel, you need to have an entrance. Some of these entrances are quite large and are designed to allow machinery to enter and leave. And we actually have a video showing how to put together a large entrance door as seen here. I'll link to it in the description. But for many of you, and for most people really, a personnel door might be all you ever need. Personnel doors are those that are just large enough to get a person and a wheelbarrow through. We're going to install a pre-hung personnel door, which will come so that it's already mounted in a frame of its own, and then you just attach that frame to the rough opening you've put in your end wall. In other words, installing pre-hung doors is easy, or at least it should be. So the tools required to get started, we're going to need a drill driver, some clamps, a Phillips screwdriver, a 5/16 inch drive bit, a number 2 square drive bit, a Phillips drive bit, and a 1/8 inch drill bit. To get started, the most important part of any door installation is really the framework. So getting your rough opening correct is really important. The width and height must be correct, the door studs must be plumb, and interior corners of your rough opening must be square. If you need help installing framework for your end wall, we have a video on that too, and I'll link to it in the description. But for us and for this door, this model requires an either 36.5 inch wide or 48.5 inch wide rough opening width by 80.5 inch tall. Our framework is done, so we're going to get this door ready to set inside the rough opening. The first step is to remove this spacer screw used to help the door keep form. We don't need it anymore, so we got to get it out of the way. Now let's set the door in the door frame. There's a nice lip around the perimeter of the door that presses firmly against the exterior door framing. Check the inside of the door to make sure the gap around the framework and the door itself is equidistant around its perimeter. Use 2 to 3 clamps to hold the door against the framing itself. I'm using 1, 2, 3 clamps on this install. Here's a close-up of what the clamp looks like when it's holding the lip of the door. Once you like the way the door is seated, use 5/16 inch drive by 3/4 inch long self-tapping TEK screws to secure the door around the perimeter of the lip. Continue to drive screws for about 30% of the pre-drilled holes in the lip of the door. I like to do just 30% of them and then test the opening and closing of the door before proceeding. To do that on this door model, you'll have to install the lock set. This also means your door will have to open. So we're going to go to the top and remove these 3 ditches that are part of the spacer. We're going to use a razor blade and our fingers to just pry them right off. Now we can actually open the door to continue our lock set installation. Slide the interior half over the exterior key. Thumb tighten both screws in place. They're a little tight, so it might take a little finagling. Use a Phillips head screwdriver to tighten the screws from the interior. The angle is sharp, so a longer screwdriver might be a little helpful. Give the lock set a test. Works out. Make sure the door closes. It checks. Now we can remove this door spacer for good, so we're just going to use our hands and pry it right out. Now that our door spacer's out, we've tested it and it works well, we're now able to continue screwing around the exterior door lip. But before you continue screwing all the way down to the base of your door, here's an important note about what happens with this door lip and how to adjust it while you screw. Sometimes this track wants to walk on it. So you can see here that the distance is pretty consistent, and it might look consistent all the way down from back there. But when you get up close, as you screw in, it has the tendency of wanting to walk. So to ensure that there's enough track behind the door, you can actually, use something on the inside to pry it into the location it needs to be. And this ensures that this track is catching the door as a stop as you're screwing it in all the way down to the ground. Now let's finish this up. As I continue, you can see I grab the pry tool to put pressure on that door lip from the inside as I drive screws. And I'm going to continue around the entire perimeter until all screws have been driven. It's time to install the windshield from the door header interior. The header bracket is installed about 2 to 3 inches closer to the door's center than the sticker that is on the door itself. These are 5/16 inch drive self-tapping TEK screws. Now we'll mount the other half of the wind chain to the door itself. Let's get this sticker off first. We know where it needs to be, make our marks. Use an 1/8 inch drill bit to pre-drill just through the metal door casing. Use a Phillips driver bit and provided screws to attach it to your door. Give it a quick shake, all good. Now we can connect both halves of the wind chain together with an S-hook. I leave 3 links of chain past the S-hook and then I adjust as needed. I try to set up the links so the door opens about 90 degrees. The door checks, so we're done installing it. If you like these doors, they all come as a standard offering with our DIY kits. But again, if you want to try a large entrance DIY budget option, really consider checking out our other video that we have on that process. And if you want to watch other videos on season extension or season extension structures, consider subscribing to our channel. Thanks for watching.